Imagine finding a coin so rare, so unbelievably valuable, that could rewrite your destiny overnight. These are not just quarters. They're forgotten pieces of American history worth unimaginable fortunes today. Some have shocked the auction world with jaw-dropping million-dollar bids. So, before you ever spend your old quarter, watch this video till the end, because one of these coins might just make you a millionaire tonight. First up, the 1984 Washington quarter dollar. A coin so ordinary at first glance, yet hiding one of the most unimaginable secrets in U.S. coinage history. Most people see just 25 cents, but collectors and auction houses see a potential fortune. This simple silver-toned piece of metal has stunned the world with shocking discoveries, rare mint errors, and auction values that sound like pure fantasy. In 1984, the U.S. Mint released millions of Washington quarters, struck mainly in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But among those millions, a handful escaped the presses with flaws so unique, they transformed from pocket change into treasures worth hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Imagine finding one of these in your old coin jar and realizing it could buy you a luxury home, a sports car, or even set you up for life. Collectors call them hidden diamonds of the 80s. What makes the 1984 Washington quarter so valuable? Let's start with its rare mint errors, the kind that defy belief. One of the most unbelievable finds is the 1984 P-double die obverse quarter, where Washington's face appears doubled, his profile ghosted like a mirage in the metal. Under magnification, you can see the doubling on the letters "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." This striking flaw makes the coin not just unique, but a literal one-of-a-kind piece of U.S. minting history. At major auctions, these error quarters have fetched shocking prices. A pristine, gem-quality 1984 P-double die error once sold for more than $15,000, and some near-perfect graded pieces by PCGS have listings above $25,000. But here's the twist. Experts believe that ultra-rare variations of this same year, yet to be discovered, could easily cross the million-dollar mark in today's collector market. Now, let's talk about something even more mind-blowing. The 1984 D quarter struck on the wrong planchet. Some were accidentally minted on 5-cent nickel planchets, or even on experimental foreign metal blanks. These coins weigh differently, shine differently, and when you drop them, they sound different, almost like they're whispering the secret of their worth. One such coin appeared at auction, and the final hammer price? Over $48,000 for a single quarter. Just imagine holding that in your hand, realizing it could change your fortune overnight. Many collectors today are combing through their old drawers and jars of change, hoping to uncover one of these impossible treasures. Experts say if your 1984 quarter has strange toning, unusual weight, off-center designs, or doubling around Washington's head or the letters, don't spend it. Get graded. It could be your golden ticket. But that's not the only secret the 1984 quarter hides. There are proof coins struck in San Francisco with deep mirror-like fields and frosted images, meant only for collectors. These were never supposed to enter circulation, yet some did, by accident or fate. A proof 1984 S-quarter in flawless PR 70 deep cameo condition can reach $3,000 to $5,000. But if you find one with an error or unique toning, the value could multiply tenfold in the right auction. Now, let's bring in the emotional reality. Imagine you once held one of these coins, spent it unknowingly at a gas station, or dropped it in a vending machine. What if the very coin you gave away for a candy bar was worth $100,000 today? That thought alone has haunted many coin enthusiasts who didn't realize what they had until years later. It's emotional, unbelievable, almost tragic, yet makes the hunt for the 1984 quarter even more exciting and personal. One collector in California shared an emotional story. He found a 1984 quarter while cleaning his late father's desk drawer. The coin looked ordinary, but it had an unusual off-center strike. Out of curiosity, he sent it for grading, and it turned out to be a rare off-center mint error valued at nearly $30,000. That small, forgotten coin became a symbol of memory, luck, and legacy. The 1984 Washington quarter also carries historical significance. It represents a moment in American minting where precision met imperfection, where every mistake became a masterpiece. The silver-white glow of the coin, the detailed portrait of George Washington, and the bold United States of America on the reverse all tell a story of craftsmanship, history, and hidden fortune. Today, in 2025, coin collectors are more passionate than ever. Rare 1,984 quarters in top grades, especially MS-67 or higher, are being listed and auctioned at jaw-dropping prices. Online auctions and private sales have reported values climbing into the six-figure range, especially when the coin has a verified mint error. The demand is exploding, and experts predict it's just the beginning. The more people search, the rarer these coins will become. If you're watching this video and thinking, I might have a 1984 quarter somewhere, don't take that thought lightly. Pull out, examine it under light. Use a magnifying glass or camera zoom. Every detail could matter. A tiny misprint, a faint doubling, a color difference could be the difference between 25 cents and $25,000. Because every great coin discovery starts the same way, with an ordinary person and an extraordinary find. Maybe the next shocking million-dollar auction story won't come from a museum or a seasoned collector, but from you, watching this right now, checking your old coins for something you once thought was worthless. So remember, the 1984 Washington quarter dollar isn't just a coin. It's a piece of time, a piece of luck, and maybe, just maybe, your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Hold on to it, cherish it, and never underestimate the power of a single quarter, because sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest fortunes. Next up, the 1970 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that looks simple, yet holds a mystery powerful enough to make headlines, shock collectors, and rewrite the meaning of rare. This coin is no ordinary piece of metal. It's one of the most unimaginable, unbelievable, and emotionally charged treasures in U.S. coin history. For decades, people have spent it without knowing they were letting go of a hidden fortune. A fortune that could reach into hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in today's auctions. The 1970 Washington quarter was minted in an era of transition, a time when America was shifting its metal compositions, striking millions of coins every day, but also accidentally creating rarities that would one day become legends. It was a year of change, of mystery, of mistakes, and those mistakes gave birth to some of the most shocking coin find in history. Among them stands one of the most unbelievable discoveries ever made, the 1970 Washington quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter planchet. Just let that sink in. An American coin accidentally minted on a foreign coin blank from 1941. When this discovery surfaced, the numismatic world was shaken. Experts couldn't believe it. A modern U.S. coin with traces of an older, foreign design buried underneath its surface. It was like uncovering a time capsule, a secret blend of two worlds in one. When this one-of-a-kind 1970 quarter hit the auction block, collectors went wild. Bidding skyrocketed, and the final price? Over $35,000. Yes, $35,000 for a single quarter. But that's not even the end. Experts believe more variants of this transitional strike could exist, hidden in coin jars, wallets, or family collections, waiting to be discovered. Imagine finding one, verifying it, and watching it turn you into a millionaire overnight. But that's not the only story the 1970 quarter tells. There are versions minted in San Francisco, S for proof sets, and in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D for circulation. The proof coins, with their mirror-like shine and razor-sharp detail, are some of the most beautiful coins America ever made. Yet among these proofs, certain errors, double strikes, die cracks, and missing letters have sold for unimaginable sums. Collectors have found proof quarters from 1970 with inverted mint marks, where the S appears flipped or misplaced, creating a coin so rare that even seasoned collectors go years without seeing one. If authenticated, Such coins can easily cross $10,000 to $20,000 in auctions. And if you think that's high, wait until you hear this. Deep Cameo Proofs graded PR70, the absolute highest perfection level, have been sold for over $3,000 to $5,000. And with even the smallest minting flaw or historical error, the price can multiply several times over. But the real emotional shock lies in this truth. Countless people have owned a 1970 quarter, spent it for gum, tossed it into change drawers, never realizing that a few specific versions are worth more than entire cars, homes, and college tuition. Some collectors call it the quarter that got away. The thought alone is heartbreaking. To think that your own pocket change could have been worth a lifetime of financial security. The 1970 quarter is a symbol of hidden fortune. You see, after 1965, quarters were no longer made of silver. They were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. But some transitional errors still contain traces of silver or older planchets. If your 1970 quarter has a slightly different tone, heavier weight, or even the faintest hint of silver, you might be holding one of those ultra-rare minting miracles. Such pieces are almost priceless to collectors who value history, mystery, and perfection combined in one coin. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have recorded staggering sales for rare 1970 quarters. A high-grade, uncirculated, or error variant can easily reach $25,000 to $40,000, while rare proof errors can go beyond $50,000. And experts predict that as time goes on, the value of these quarters will only rise, because rarity grows as more coins vanish, get spent, or stay hidden in forgotten drawers. Let's pause for a moment and imagine. What if your grandfather's old collection box has one of these quarters? What if you've been overlooking a fortune sitting in a jar beside your bed? There are stories of people finding shocking treasures this way. One man in Texas sold a small group of old quarters at auction, and among them was a rare 1970 error that brought in $30,000. He said he almost spent it on coffee just weeks before. That's how powerful and unpredictable coin collecting can be. The emotional weight of this coin is not just about money. It's about discovery. The 1970 Washington quarter connects past generations to present ones. It's a reminder that even the smallest, simplest things we overlook every day can carry unimaginable value. The face of George Washington, the eagle spread on the reverse, the fine lines around United States of America. Every detail could hide a story worth more than gold. And here's the shocking truth. Some 1970 quarters are still unaccounted for. Experts estimate that a handful of the rarest variants have yet to be found, and they could easily surpass the $1 million mark once authenticated. That means someone, somewhere right now, might have a coin capable of rewriting their future, just sitting in a jar of change. So if you have any 1970 quarters, don't ignore them. Examine them closely. Check for unusual marks, doubling on letters, off-center strikes, or signs that it might have been struck on a foreign planchet. Use a magnifying glass, weigh it, and compare it to a normal quarter. The difference could be your path to life-changing wealth. Because one coin, one simple, forgotten 1970 Washington quarter, has already done it for others. It's transformed ordinary people into overnight success stories. And it might just do the same for you. Hold on to your old coins. Never underestimate them. And remember, fortune hides in the smallest places. The 1970 quarter is proof that even a single coin can carry $1 million miracle in its tiny, shining surface. Next up, the 1986 Washington quarter dollar. A coin that looks so ordinary, so familiar, yet holds stories that can shake the numismatic world to its core. What if I told you that the quarter sitting quietly in your wallet right now could be worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars? The 1986 Washington quarter might just be one of those coins that could turn your life around overnight. A small piece of metal with a millionaire's heartbeat. The year 1986 marked another chapter in American minting, and with it came some of the most mysterious and shocking coin anomalies ever recorded. Millions were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, D, while San Francisco struck its beautiful proof versions. But among those millions, some were different, born with flaws that turned them from spare change into museum-worthy treasures. One of the most astonishing discoveries was the 1986 P. Washington quarter struck on a nickel planchet. Imagine that, a 25-cent design stamped on a 5-cent blank. The result was a slightly smaller, lighter, and differently colored coin. When it first appeared, even experienced collectors thought it was fake until grading experts confirmed it was real. The hammer fell at auction, and the price stunned everyone. Over $20,000 for one single coin. That's the kind of unimaginable twist that makes coin collectors go breathless. But that's just the start. Another unbelievable find was the 1986 D off-center strike quarter, where Washington's portrait is shifted dramatically to one side. The missing part of the design and misaligned rim made it a visual shocker, a printing error that defied perfection. Such coins are incredibly rare, and depending on how off-center they are, can bring between $5,000 to $15,000 at auctions. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable it becomes. Some collectors even call these pieces lucky mistakes, because one printing misstep decades ago could now pay for someone's dream home. Then came the 1986 S-proof quarters, coins made only for collectors, not meant for circulation. They were struck multiple times for mirror-like perfection, but sometimes even the mint's precision failed. A few of these proofs ended up with double strikes, frosted over imperfections, or even missing parts of inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust. When these proof errors appeared in auctions, bidders didn't hesitate. Prices soared as high as $12,000 to $18,000, with some unique examples reaching far more in private sales. Now, imagine the emotional roller coaster of finding such a coin in your possession. Picture someone cleaning their attic, going through an old jar of change left by their parents or grandparents, and spotting a slightly different 1986 quarter, one that shines strangely or feels lighter. They send it for authentication, and days later, the grading report comes back confirming it's an ultra-rare mint error. In that single moment, their life changes. What was once pocket change suddenly becomes a symbol of destiny and a key to financial freedom. One true story stands out. In 2021, a collector from Ohio found a 1986 D quarter with a dramatic die crack running through Washington's face, a lightning-like scar that made the coin one of a kind. It sold for $7,800 at auction, far exceeding its expected value. For the owner, it was not just money, it was emotion. He said it felt like his late father, who collected coins, had left behind a hidden gift. That's the kind of emotional connection these rare coins create. They're not just valuable, they're meaningful. But here's where it gets even more shocking. Some 1986 quarters were struck with missing clad layers, meaning part of their surface copper-nickel coating didn't bond properly during minting. These coins reveal a bronze-like or copper-colored layer underneath, making them stand out instantly. When collectors spot this type of error, they don't let it go. These can easily reach $10,000 to $25,000, depending on the condition and rarity of the missing layer. And there's another kind of rare gem, the 1986 P quarter in ultra-high mint state condition, graded MS-68 or higher. These are coins that have survived nearly 4 decades without a single scratch, nick, or flaw. Finding one is nearly impossible, but when it happens, the value skyrockets. In recent years, a 1986 PMS-68 sold for around $6,000, and experts believe that the next perfect MS-69 could break past $20,000, maybe more. Think about that for a second. A tiny, everyday coin, the kind you drop in parking meters or soda machines, capable of being worth more than a brand-new car. It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But that's the magic of numismatics, where accidents, perfection, and history collide to create something extraordinary. And if you think all the rare 1986 quarters have already been found, think again. Experts believe there are still undiscovered varieties waiting to be unearthed. Somewhere in a dusty drawer, a coin album, or an old tin box could sit the next record-breaking piece. The kind of coin that makes news headlines, that stuns the world when it's auctioned for an amount so shocking it almost feels unreal. $1 million quarter waiting for its moment to shine. So if you have a 1986 quarter, don't overlook it. Study it under light. Check for doubling in the letters, for off-center strikes, for different metal tones, or for missing layers. Every line, every shine, every imperfection could mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing payday. Because behind that 1986 date lies something greater than metal. It's a symbol of hidden fortune, of hope, of fate itself. The 1986 Washington quarter teaches us one timeless lesson. The most unimaginable treasures often hide in the most ordinary things. And one day, if you're lucky enough to find the right one, that ordinary quarter could become your extraordinary miracle. So, keep your eyes open, hold on to your change, and never underestimate a coin's power to change your life, because the next big auction story might not come from a collector or a museum. It might come from you. Next up, the 1980 Washington quarter dollar. A coin that seems so simple, yet behind its silver shine hides a story so unbelievable, so unimaginable, it will leave you breathless. What if I told you that this ordinary-looking coin, the same one that once jingled in millions of pockets, has secretly made some people rich beyond belief? The 1980 quarter has quietly become one of the most emotionally charged and shocking coins ever discovered, capable of turning a small piece of metal into a life-changing fortune. The 1980 quarter was struck at 3 mints, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. But not all were created equal. Hidden among those millions are quarters with rare flaws, minting mistakes, and production mysteries that transform them into golden tickets. And these coins, when found in the right condition, have fetched prices that sound almost unreal. Tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in rare cases. One of the most stunning discoveries was the 1980 P quarter struck on a copper penny planchet. Just imagine that. A 25-cent design printed on a 1-cent copper blank. The color is strikingly different, the size slightly off, and the sound unlike any quarter you've ever heard. The first time this error coin appeared at auction, it stunned the crowd. Bidding started at a few $100s and soared past $10,000 in minutes. The final hammer price? Over $12,500 for one coin that could have been mistaken for a piece of scrap metal. But that's just the beginning. The 1980 D quarter with off-center strikes and incomplete designs have become some of the most emotionally desired coins in numismatics. The off-center version, where Washington's face is pushed dramatically to one side, sold for nearly $7,000 at auction. It's that kind of breathtaking imperfection that collectors crave, because when the mint makes a mistake, it makes history, and that history becomes fortune. Now, imagine this. A man cleaning his old garage finds a jar filled with coins from the 1970s and 80s. He spots one 1980 quarter that looks slightly different, lighter in color, slightly smaller. He sends it for grading, and when it comes back, the report reveals that it's a rare transitional error struck on a foreign planchet, possibly meant for a coin from another country. That one coin, which had been sitting in a dusty jar for decades, brought him over $40,000 at auction. His reaction? Pure disbelief, followed by tears of joy. That's the power of a coin that carries an unimaginable story. The 1980 quarter is also known among collectors for its deep mirror-proof strikes from the San Francisco Mint. These proof coins, made with extra precision and mirror-like backgrounds, were never intended for everyday use. But somehow, a few of these proof coins slipped into circulation, a shocking mistake that turned them into rare gems. If you happen to find one with the S mint mark and an ultra-deep mirror finish, it could easily be worth $2,000 to $5,000, and in perfect PR70 condition with a unique toning or strike flaw. The value can multiply dramatically. But what makes the 1980 quarter truly unforgettable is the emotional connection it carries. For many Americans, this coin represents childhood memories, paying for snacks, saving in piggy banks, or receiving change from stores long gone. People spend it carelessly, never imagining that decades later, some versions of this very coin would become more valuable than gold. It's a haunting thought to realize that a coin you once tossed away might today be worth a small fortune. One collector's story perfectly captures this emotional shock. In 2019, a woman in Florida found a 1980 quarter that her late father had kept in a small wooden box labeled Special Coins. She almost spent it, but decided to research it first. To her amazement, it turned out to be a 1980 quarter struck on a 5-cent planchet. When she sold it at auction, it brought in $9,800. She later said she cried, not because of the money, but because it felt like her father had left her one final miracle. And that's what makes these coins so special. They're not just metal. They're stories, memories, emotions, and destiny all wrapped in one. But let's go deeper. There's an even rarer version of the 1980 quarter that some experts believe could surpass $100,000 if discovered in perfect condition. It's the rumored 1980 S-proof quarter with double die reverse, where the words United States of America and quarter dollar appear doubled under magnification. Only a handful are known, and the last confirmed example sold for a heart-stopping $35,000 years ago. Since then, collectors have been desperately searching for another, and whoever finds the next one could become an overnight millionaire. High-grade regular 1980 quarters are also gaining insane popularity. A 1980 P quarter graded MS-68, an almost flawless condition, was auctioned for over $1,000, and experts believe an MS-69, if ever found, could easily cross $10,000 to $15,000. It's because nearly all 1980 quarters were heavily circulated, scratched, or worn out. Finding one in perfect mint state is like discovering a time capsule untouched by history. And let's not forget the emotional punch of what that means. Something so small, so common, surviving perfectly for 45 years, carrying within it a story of America's changing times. Every scratch avoided, every flaw escaped, adds to its unimaginable value. So, before you spin that 1980 quarter lying around your house, stop. Look at it carefully. Check for off-center strikes, doubling, missing layers, or an unusual color. Weigh it. Feel it. You might just be holding something priceless. Because the most valuable coins in the world don't always sparkle at first glance. They whisper their worth to those who take the time to notice. The 1980 Washington quarter dollar stands as a reminder that miracles don't always come in gold or diamonds. Sometimes they come in a small coin you've had all along, one capable of changing your life in ways you could never imagine. So go ahead, search your old jars, your drawers, your wallets. Somewhere, maybe right now, there's a 1980 quarter waiting to be discovered, waiting to shock the world with its story and its worth. And if you're the one who finds it, that single coin could turn you into the next unbelievable success story. The next person whose fortune was hiding in plain sight. Next up, the 1997 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that may look like any other from your spare change, yet it carries a mystery that has left collectors speechless and dreamers awake at night. What if I told you that one of the most ordinary-looking quarters ever made could be hiding unimaginable wealth? That this small piece of metal from 1997 could be worth not hundreds, not thousands, but potentially hundreds of thousands, even $1 million if you find the right one? Sounds unbelievable, right? But this is the shocking reality behind the 1997 Washington quarter. At first glance, there's nothing extraordinary about it. Struck at the Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and San Francisco, S, mints, millions were made that year. Most were used, spent, and forgotten. But a tiny handful, came out of the mint unlike any others. These are the error coins, the minting miracles, the ones that transform from pocket change into life-changing treasures. And those who were lucky enough to find them became legends in the world of numismatics. Let's start with one of the most mind-blowing versions ever discovered, the 1997 P. Washington quarter struck on a 10-cent dime planchet. Yes, you heard that right. A quarter design printed on a dime's metal blank. The result? A slightly smaller, thinner, silvery coin with part of the design missing. An impossible error that shouldn't exist. But it does. And when the first of these coins surfaced, the coin world went silent. The auction opened at $500, then $5,000, and by the end of the night, it sold for an unbelievable $16,500. One small coin, worth more than most people make in months. That's the kind of jaw-dropping twist this coin carries. But that's not all. Another collector's dream discovery came when in 1997, D. Washington quarter was struck on a foreign planchet intended for a coin from another country. The mix of metal composition made it shine differently, and its weight didn't match a regular quarter. When authenticated, it became one of the rarest known transitional errors of the late 1990s. Bidding for this coin reached $28,000, and experts believe a pristine specimen of this same type could cross $50,000 to $100,000 easily if found today. And then there's the 1997 S-proof coin. The mirror-like beauty made for collectors, struck multiple times to achieve flawless perfection. But sometimes, even perfection goes wrong. Some proof quarters were accidentally double-struck, or struck with a slightly rotated die, causing Washington's portrait to appear shifted or doubled. A few others were discovered with missing clad layers, exposing a brilliant copper glow underneath. These shocking mistakes have fetched staggering amounts, from $5,000 all the way to $25,000, depending on their grade and visibility. Now, imagine this. What if one of those error coins is sitting right now in your home? Maybe in your drawer, your piggy bank, or a jar of old coins your parents left behind. Just one 1997 quarter, slightly off color or oddly thin, could be your golden ticket. People often spend years searching, hoping to find that one special coin, but sometimes destiny works in unbelievable ways. Let's talk about one such emotional story that stunned the coin community. In 2020, a man from Pennsylvania found an old coin roll that had belonged to his grandfather. Inside, he discovered a 1997 quarter that looked unusually shiny and thinner than others. Thinking it was nothing, he almost spent it, until his friend convinced him to get it checked. Weeks later, he received a letter from the grading service confirming it was a 1997 piece struck on a dime planchet. The estimated auction value? Around $20,000. He broke down in tears when he realized that his grandfather's simple coin roll had hidden a miracle worth more than a car. That's the emotional beauty of a 1997 Washington quarter. It reminds us that unimaginable treasures often hide in plain sight. But the story doesn't end there. Another variety that continues to shock collectors is the 1997 Deep Double Die obverse, where the lettering Liberty and In God We Trust appear doubled when viewed under magnification. Though rare, these coins have become some of the most hunted Washington quarters from the 90s. Depending on the strike clarity and condition, these double die varieties can range from $1,000 to $10,000, and experts warn that many still remain undiscovered. What's more shocking is that high-grade examples, coins preserved in flawless MS-68 or MS-69 condition, can also command incredible premiums even without visible errors. In 2023, a 1997 D quarter graded MS-68 sold for over $2,000, and professional graders believe that the first ever MS-69 example could easily break $10,000 in value. Why? Because it's nearly impossible to find a 1997 quarter without scratches or wear after decades of circulation. Perfection has become a treasure. And here's something even more unbelievable. Some 1997 quarters have shown missing clad layers on either side, creating a two-tone effect with the copper core exposed. The moment collectors see that, they know it's special. These dramatic minting flaws can bring prices from $3,000 to $12,000, depending on how much of the layer is missing. One recently sold example, missing 60% of its outer layer, fetched a shocking $9,800 at a private auction. Think about it. A coin you could easily overlook, a quarter most people would spend without a second thought, could be worth more than $10,000. That's the emotional sting and thrill of the 1997 Washington quarter. Every single one of these coins tells a story of human error, chance, and destiny. Somewhere in a coin roll or a dusty box, another 1997 quarter lies waiting to be found. The next great discovery that will shock the world and change someone's life forever. So here's the truth. If you have any 1997 quarters, don't spend them. Check them under bright light. Look for doubling on the words for off-center designs, missing layers, or anything that feels just slightly different. Use a magnifying glass or phone camera to zoom in. Sometimes the smallest difference can mean the biggest fortune. Because this coin, the 1997 Washington quarter dollar, is not just metal. It's mystery, history, emotion, and wealth, all in one small circle of silver. It has already made ordinary people unexpectedly rich, and the next life it changes could be yours. So before you drop your next quarter into a vending machine, stop and look. You might just be holding a $1 million miracle, a forgotten treasure from 1997 that could turn your life into one of the most unbelievable stories ever told. Next up, the 1985 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might just be the most overlooked yet most unbelievably valuable piece of metal sitting quietly in everyday change. You see, sometimes the coins that look the most ordinary carry the most extraordinary stories. And the 1985 quarter is a perfect example of that silent miracle hiding in plain sight. This coin has shocked collectors with its rare errors, hidden varieties, and unimaginable auction prices that no one expected from a coin barely 40 years old. Let's go back to 1985. The United States Mint was producing quarters in the Philadelphia, P, and Denver, D mints, no San Francisco circulation quarters that year. Billions rolled out, meant for simple transactions, for buying gum, paying meters, and dropping into vending machines. But among those billions, a few unique pieces were born differently. Mistakes so rare they turned into treasures. These coins, once worth only 25 cents, are now worth thousands, even tens of thousands. And in some cases, collectors believe a perfect example could cross $100,000 or more if discovered today. It all begins with the 1985 P. Washington quarter struck on a wrong planchet. One of the most shocking and emotional discoveries of the decade. Imagine finding a quarter that's smaller, lighter, and thinner than normal. You think it's damaged until a coin expert tells you it was actually struck on a dime blank by mistake. Yes, a 25-cent design printed onto a 10-cent planchet. These minting miracles are so rare that when one appeared in a 2018 auction, it sold for $12,000. But that's not the highest. Another example in near-perfect condition later stunned collectors by hitting $18,600, and experts say a flawless one could easily double that amount today. And that's just one version. Another breathtaking error is the 1985 D quarter struck on a copper cent planchet, meaning the coin was printed on a penny's copper metal instead of the usual copper-nickel composition. The result? A reddish-gold quarter, smaller and lighter, but stamped with Washington's face and the eagle reverse. These errors are so visually stunning that even beginners can spot them instantly. One sold for $10,500, while another reached $17,000 in a private auction. The rarity, combined with the emotional "how is this even possible" factor, makes it one of the most desired 1980s quarter errors ever. Then there's the double die obverse. The haunting variety where the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear doubled when viewed closely. These subtle but striking details can push the coin's worth into $5,000 to $10,000 territory, depending on its grade. Some examples show light doubling around Washington's eye and chin, making the portrait look almost alive under magnification. Collectors describe these coins as ghost doubles because of their mysterious and rare appearance. And we can't forget about the off-center strikes, the kind of errors that instantly grab attention. A 1985 quarter struck 20% off-center with full visible date once sold for $2,700, and one with a 50% off-center strike and clear date shocked the market at $6,200. Imagine pulling a coin like that from an old coin jar. Your heartbeat would race, realizing you're holding a once-in-a-lifetime find. But the most unbelievable discovery tied to the 1985 quarter came from a humble garage in Kansas. In 2019, A man cleaning his late father's toolbox found a few coins in a plastic container. One quarter looked slightly different, lighter in color, with an odd ring around its rim. He thought it was just worn out. When he showed it to a local dealer, they sent it for grading. Weeks later, he got the call. It was a 1985 P quarter missing both outer-clad layers, leaving a pure copper coin underneath. That single piece of metal, forgotten for decades, was now valued at nearly $25,000. The man said in an interview, "It's like my dad left me one last surprise, a 25-cent coin that paid my daughter's college tuition." That's the kind of emotional twist these coins carry. Ordinary change transformed into extraordinary miracles. Now, let's talk about condition. The highest graded 1985 quarters, even without errors, have shocked auction watchers. An MS-68 1985 D sold for $1,800, while a proof-like specimen reached nearly $2,500. Imagine if a perfect MS-69 or MS-70 ever surfaced. Experts believe it could sell for $10,000 to $15,000, simply for being the cleanest known survivor from its minting year. Why? Because perfection from that year is almost impossible. The 1980s were a tough period for mint quality. Planchet flaws, weak strikes, and contact marks were common. Finding a 1985 quarter that escaped all of that, still shining like the day it was made, is like finding a flawless diamond in a pile of gravel. That's why collectors will pay any price to own it. And here's something that adds even more mystery. Some 1985 quarters have been found with inverted mint marks or machine doubling, making the mint letter appear slightly twisted or shadowed. While not all are valuable, the rare authentic varieties can reach $1,000 to $2,500 easily. Every strange mark, every doubled letter, could be a clue leading to hidden fortune. But let's be real. What makes this coin truly unforgettable isn't just the money. It's the emotion behind the discovery. The 1985 quarter teaches us that magic doesn't always come from gold or silver. Sometimes it comes from copper and nickel. It reminds us that history hides in everyday things, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. Picture this: a little kid checking their change after buying candy, a grandfather searching his old wallet, or a young collector opening a dusty coin roll, and then suddenly realizing the coin in their hand could change their life. That's the kind of unimaginable excitement that surrounds the 1985 Washington quarter. Collectors often say, "Don't chase the coins everyone talks about. Chase the ones that don't talk, because they whisper secrets worth millions." The 1985 quarter is exactly that whisper, a silent, forgotten relic that sometimes speaks in the loudest way possible, through auction records and stunned gasps. So before you spend another quarter, take a moment. Hold it under a light. Look for doubling, color changes, or off-center designs. Check the weight. The smallest detail could mean the difference between 25 cents and $25,000. Because somewhere out there, still hidden in pockets, drawers, and jars, another 1985 Washington quarter is waiting for its finder, waiting for that moment when someone looks closely enough to realize they're holding a miracle worth more than gold.